Say. On the bottom of your screen, you will see the Q&A session box. Please pop all your questions there, and please try not to use the chat box because we can answer all your questions at the end of this session. Baie welkom almal. Sien daaronder is die Q&A boksie. TikTok op donderdag. This is the whole provincial team of FEDSAS. If you need anything else, any questions, contact your provincial manager. At the bottom, you'll see Riaan van der Bergh. He's our technology manager, and he'll have all the answers ready. He's leading the session. Over to you, Riaan.
Thank you, Santi. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Now on a cough. Sorry about that. Good afternoon. It's Child Protection Week, and I hope all of you are wearing a green ribbon. We're really keen to participate in this. Santi, if you can possibly stop sharing your screen, also give me sharing rights, that's possible. Yeah, so we're running a double feature this week. We had a very, very nice chat with Joe Black yesterday about child protection and child online safety and an app for bullying. So if you missed that one, yeah, have a look at our Facebook page. You will see the recording there, or follow us on YouTube, and you'll get the previous tech talks on that. So we're chatting today again about child online safety as part of Child Protection Week. And our speaker today is Josh Ramsey. You can see him there in the panel. He just stepped off the phone with Cape Talk, and I listened with 1 ear on the Cape to the Cape Talk interview. Maybe Josh can share a little bit with that, but I'll introduce him in a second. And the rest of our panel is our admin support, and then we're very fortunate to have Jaco Deacon, our Deputy CEO of FEDSAS, in the chat today. We're going to be sharing practical ideas of what's going on in schools. I just want to share a few thoughts. You know the drill already, so let me just quickly share my screen and get that going. I want you to see the green ribbon on everything we do this week. Jaco shared some videos early Monday morning through our WhatsApp group and social media. Tech Talk today at 3. This week we're not just Thursday, but we were Wednesday. Child Protection Week is on the lips of most media stations and should be very pertinent in our lives. The Department of Social Development calls this week every year so that we focus on child protection. And interesting story, after I spoke on a radio station earlier this week, my daughter said, "But Dad, why is it Child Protection Week? Shouldn't children be safe all year round?" And that struck me. She's 11 years old, and she got the insight to say, "But why do we elevate something that should be normal?" And yes, it should be normal. Children should be protected, should be safe, should be harbored, should not be exposed in the physical as well as in the online world. But there's no more two separate spaces. We are now living in the old and the new space converged. My life, I have my cell phone with me, goes with me everywhere. I'm in the physical, but always connected, always mobile. And that is where online is not a separate silo to life. So yeah, we want to really put some focus on that today. So what have we been doing this week? We supporting Child Protection Week. We ran Joe Black yesterday as a webinar to inspire and just put focus on the issue. We're doing this webinar today, but today's webinar is about an ongoing campaign about how to engage and get our online spaces more safe. So yeah, I've got a few notes here that I quickly wanted to just touch on before we hand over to Josh. And I want to quickly stop my screen sharing. That was what we had yesterday, and this is what we're having today. And I can't see stops. There's the button to stop share. So I just want to quickly talk from the heart. Number one, Child Protection Week is important to me, and I hope to all of us. It is something that is close to the school and education sector because we work with children. We are doing something to elevate the discussion and keep it alive, because I think it's not just something for a one-day event or a one-time moment or a week, but let's continue living with child safety in our minds. In South Africa, it's easy. We have alarm systems, we have security companies, we have gates, we have locks and keys and pepper spray. And we are very aware of the physical safety in our space. I want to take that same inclination. We buy insurance for our TV set that's going to be stolen. I want to get us in that same inclination. Your child might be exposed to a lot of life on a device that you are not managing as a parent. And we need to just, not just run away from the problem, but manage the risk, because we need to be educated in the risk. I think it's a community problem. My power was off, my water was off, and suddenly a lot of people in the neighborhood said, but shouldn't we do something about this? Cable theft, let's do neighborhood watch, let's do something. So collectively, the community needs to step in and take responsibility. As a school community, let's take responsibility together. Yes, we want individual parents, individual teachers to manage their classrooms and their homes, but maybe I can do something that will help my neighbor. Because if my child plays at my neighbor's house, my child's exposed to my neighbor's risks and risk profile. So let's think about that. Sometimes I speak to schools and they say, oh, it's too risky. We just ban everything. Okay, you can ban the 21st century as much as you want. The kids still go home and live in the 21st century at home and after hours, after school hours. So we can't just ignore it. It's there. So engage in it and manage the process. Today, Josh is going to talk about Be in Touch, and maybe I should talk about it later, but I just went through the whole process of age estimating my children, myself, in this campaign that he's talked about. It was easy. It was 2 minutes, and I got both my children's pictures scanned for age estimation, and we're going to talk about that today. So I did it, and I feel safe, and I feel that I've made a contribution to make the world a safer place, and Josh will give us the context of that. And yeah, we are definitely in the space of giving away a lot of data all the time. I listened to a TED talk over the weekend, and it was very interesting. The lady from China said, we should get paid for our data, because the top 7 companies in the world are tech companies, and they make their money off our data. So if you've got Google, if you've got WhatsApp, you've got Facebook, you've got Zoom, you've got anything online, you're effectively giving some data away already. And we're comfortable with a certain level of data, but we get nothing in return, sometimes just a free product. And Josh is going to talk about an opportunity for schools. And don't be scared of getting rewarded for sharing data, because this lady in China said we should be doing it already. Josh, with that lead in, I want to ask you to share your screen. I see you've done that already. You're welcome to just take the stage. It's the second time in about a month that we're talking to you. Tell us what's been happening in the Share to Protect campaign. Maybe just share some what you shared on the radio about 10 minutes ago.
How's it, Riaan, and all the listeners out there, teachers, SGP members, all the demographics that we have. It's so wonderful to be with you. And yeah, I was just on Cape Talk speaking with Pippa Hudson about this campaign, and there's been a lot of interest. We've got some great partners in place, FEDSAS being one of them, Media Monitoring Africa being another, and hopefully more coming on board soon. So yes, today we're going to be talking about the future of child online safety. And there's going to be some statistics, there's going to be some examples, but I want us to just take a moment. I saw someone posted into the chat that it's load shedding for some of you guys at 4 p.m. That's the world we live in. There's so much going on. There's so much busyness. And I just want to land all of what we're saying in the heart. As Joe was talking about yesterday, these are our kids. We have to be doing more to protect them. If we are not willing to take risks, to find new ways to protect them, we leave that risk with them. If we are not willing to do something about the risks they face, they are the ones that are left taking the risk. So it's a very sensitive topic. It's a very important topic, and I'm looking forward to sharing some information with you and some solutions. So what we have here is that we have a big challenge on our table at the moment. We have uncontrolled access to devices. We have internet apps, we have games, and of course we have all of this inappropriate content and the opportunity for grooming. This is what's happening in the schools that we run surveys. So a bit of context, we do education, connection, and protection work with schools, with parents about how they relate to their devices and the connected world of the internet. So the challenges are real, and we're going to look at some of those stats. We're going to look at a solution that leans into what Riaan was talking about us joining together and pretty much forming our own neighborhood watch. But it's a little bit more technical than that. Basically, we're going to program a little camera to be our neighborhood watch for our kids while we're not around. And then on the back of this is a great opportunity for your schools to earn some donations, to be rewarded for the risk of stepping outside and taking hold of what's going on in your child's online space, as well as the time. Even if it is 2 minutes, we want to make sure that your time is very valued. And so there is some school funding that's been made available for this process. So we're going to be talking about device access and controls. We're going to be talking about apps, games, and websites, and then the harder stuff: pornography, self-harm, drugs, alcohol, some statistics, and some of the really inefficient ways we have of dealing with that online, as well as stranger contact, which is a massive issue and of growing concern to all of us. Now, what we do is that we go into schools and we share my story of being exposed to pornography at age 9 and really developing a very poor relationship with media and substances all the way through my 20s, which only I started to resolve, and I've turned my life around. I'm now a father, and I work to educate children about avoiding the kind of problems I had. But as you can see on the screen, from the children that we survey, 84% of them have phones or tablets by age 12, 66% have got social media, and almost 70% have no parental limits. That means that we have got a bunch, or the vast majority of children at the age of 12 with no guidance about how they use their devices, just moving around the internet and being exposed to some of the things that I've just spoken to you about. And how do the companies stand back and say, well, it's not our fault? How does Instagram say it's not their fault, or TikTok or Snapchat? Well, they've got this amazing solution in place. These are 3 screenshots that I took this morning from TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat. And this is how they say they are protecting children on their platforms. They say, well, children must just put in their date of birth, and if they're too young, well, we won't give them access. So as you all know, being a child is about finding solutions, and it's not our children's fault that they very quickly figure out that if you change that 2008 to a 1988, well, then you can go wherever you want. And that's exactly what's happening. And what does that mean? That they get into these apps, that they're able to be approached by adults, that they're able to see content that they shouldn't, that they're able to purchase products that they shouldn't have access to if they've grabbed a credit card from mom's purse. And I'm sure you've seen some of these images before, but this is what it looks like. These are the solutions that these companies put out there, whether it's, for example, down here, following an alcohol brand or an over 18 brand on Twitter, where you just have to insert an age and you're done, or whether it's accessing an adult content site or a dating site. Are you over 18 years? Yes or no? Whether it's buying alcohol online, this site, to use this site, you must be over 18 years old. Click yes. Even on YouTube, verify your age, complete a brief check to show that you're old enough. Now, some of us who had misspent youths will remember there was a bouncer at the front of the club asking to see our date of birth on a driver's license. We have no bouncer online. We have, in the very least, a little chalkboard that you can just walk up to and tick, or even a button that you click and you get issued your pass and off you go. And what does this mean? What does this mean that we have such poor systems to keep our children safe online? Well, it means that up to 57% of the kids by age 12 have seen pornography. That 52% of them have thought seriously about hurting themselves by age 15. Because you know what's in the media, you know what 18 films are like, the horror movies, the glorification of suicide, the glorification of depression, and the various mental health challenges that exist. And 36% of them have used drugs and alcohol by age 15 because it's normal. Remember that media is modeling. So if we are not giving these examples to our children, they're finding them somewhere else. When it comes to something like stranger contact, which is a real tragedy, here are some screenshots from actual grooming engagements where adults will go out of their way to find minors online and take them through a process of familiarization, luring them in, and just getting a little bit of information from them each time until they can get either visual content that they can use to blackmail them into a potential physical encounter. But this is not good enough. And because of this, the age gating that is in place, or the age verification processes that are in place, this is what we're dealing with. The fact that 82% of some of the children we've spoken to have been contacted by a stranger online, and that 64% of that contact is via social media. So, is this the best we can do? Is the best we can do that if you're 18 plus, adults only, confirm that you're 18 or leave this website, click I'm over 18 or exit? We don't think it is, and fortunately we're not the only ones that think so. I'm going to be telling you about a technology company that's making a difference, and they're at the core of the Share to Protect campaign. But what's very exciting about this is that regulation is coming through. It's ahead of us in South Africa. In the UK, it looks like it's going to come into effect in about September. And in September, in the United Kingdom at least, and it happens there, and it's dominoes. That's how it goes with legislation generally. That companies that I've mentioned here, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, adult content companies, adult product companies, will have to have a form of solution to ensure that children do not get access to their content and that children don't have access to adults online. So what does that solution look like? It's on the right side of the screen here, and it's called an age estimation algorithm. So basically, instead of your child going and clicking on that, they would have to put their face in the frame of this camera. They'd have to click, take picture, and they would have that image analyzed for its pixel values. So it's nothing to do with recognizing who this person is, anything like that. It simply looks at the numbers behind the colors on each one of the pixels in the camera photo. And then it says, well, this person is over 18 or is not over 18. This technology has already been in place for above 13s, and it's working very, very well. It's accurate to about 1.5 years. And now we are looking to extend that protection to 5 to 13-year-olds. These are the youngest ones that don't know. They might not even be able to read some of the things. They just click on them and then they're exposed to this content. So this is the solution we're here to talk about, and the opportunity for your schools to raise funds in our trying times. We need a proper age verification measure. We can use this facial scan to prove our age. And with the regulatory pressure that is on these websites, games, and apps, it's coming. And we need to be ready for the solution so that they can't turn around and say, well, we weren't ready. So to give Riaan's example, the neighborhood municipality is about to enforce that we have to have cameras that can pick up who's robbing. And now as a community, we need to help these cameras figure out who's supposed to be where, so that when that regulation comes, we can say, well, we've got the solution, no excuses, get it into your app, get it into your website. Okay, so that's what we're here to talk about. We understand that it's a trying time for schools. I was all scheduled to go up to Natal to speak at some schools there on a great speaking tour. I got the call today that COVID has hit. There's 15 kids, it's not going to be possible. And I understand that schools are facing a lot of things right now. And that's why we've created this fundraising solution and the do-good behind it, the training of this age estimation technology in a way that does not put you as a brand or your school at risk, and it does not put your students at risk that they have to go and line up somewhere and give their photo. It's done in their own homes with their parents, talking about why this is important. So that's at the core of it. We're protecting children online, and we're opening the conversation about why it's important. We're raising funds for your school, and we're creating awareness and starting conversations. So there is a donation of 20 Rand per photo that your school submits. We also have some Kickstarters to get us going, and we already have about 15 schools that have started, but they're not far ahead of you, and those prizes are still up for grabs. The first 3 schools that hit 500 photos submitted will get an additional 10,000 Rand. And the first school to reach 1,000 photos will get an additional 20,000 Rand. So there is some incentive, but as Riaan said, we don't do this for money, and we're not teachers for money. We do this because we want to protect children, but we just want to recognize the time that it'll take. So Yoti is the company behind this, and they've been in the digital identity space for a number of years, and they are a for-good company. They have all of the recognition of standards and accreditations. They've been tested by more certifying bodies than we even have in South Africa. We don't actually have any regulatory bodies for what they do, but they're on the highest standard of all of the international standards that are required. So, and I'm going to move through this quickly because the technical stuff we can work out via email once you guys share your interest. It's important that we understand the heart behind this campaign. We want to protect children. We want to make sure that the online spaces are safe. And Riaan and I are going to have a big back and forth when we get to the end of this presentation and take your questions so that you can understand exactly what this is about. We need 50,000 photos of children between the ages of 5 to 13 that are marked with the month and year of birth. We need that so that we can test the algorithm. We train the algorithm for a couple of weeks using the photos that we have, the 50,000 photos that we have, to make sure that it's working. As soon as it's working, those 50,000 photos will be deleted. We don't need to hold on to them forever, and there's a maximum holding on period of 3 years of these children's photos that are needed. It's important to note that every parent will be the person giving consent. So as a school, you don't have to give consent or get these children's photos. You can, as a school, collect it, but the parents will be giving the consent. It's on them. It's their decision to make. But it's a great way to talk to them about the dangers that their children face and what they should be doing about it. Not only this, but being involved in their children's life. So as I said, there's a 20 Rand donation per photo, and we also have some information to share about artificial intelligence, which can be useful to catalyze, conversations in your school. So it's a big question, and Riaan has spoken about it. Why would we share my child's phone? Why would I do that in a world where everyone is taking my data? Why would I voluntarily do it? So it's important to understand it's only the head and shoulders. There's no names or identification. There's no tracking. As I said, it's only used to train this technology so that we can make the companies that are destroying our children's lives accountable to putting it in place. And the photos will be deleted as soon as the training is complete, or for a maximum of 3 years, whatever comes sooner. So I'm going to take you through the logistics of what signing up your school would mean. And then Riaan and I are going to have a big back and forth and take some of your questions. So all you need to do to register your school is that you need to email share2protect@yoti.com with your school name and the name and number of your school champion. We need a champion in the school. You've got to have that head of the PTA. You've got to have that head of the neighborhood watch saying, hey guys, I've made coffee. Come, let's meet at the stop street at 12 o'clock tonight so we can do our walk. There's got to be someone with a bit of gears. So we're looking for that person that has a bit of gears, that has a heart for protecting children and is willing to engage with us to help your board, to help your parents, to help your head of school understand why this is so important and why it's such a great opportunity to do good, to protect South African children and to protect global children, which is quite amazing that South Africa could be a part of training this age estimation technology that protects potentially billions of children if we look at how many children are online. So you need to email share2protect@yoti.com with your school name and your champion's contact details. What will happen then is that we will send you a unique link. So you'll have a special little website, support age, or share2protect.yoti.com/ let's say Rustenburg Primary School, just to use that. And then you will share that unique link with your parent body. They will then go on there and follow these steps. They'll prove that they're over 21 and they'll scan themselves first to check out how it all works. Once we are aware that they are in fact over 21 and can give consent, they'll give consent by putting in their email address, the month and year of birth, and giving consent. So this is POPI compliant, all the rest, and proceed through to submit a photo of their child. This is my little girl, Marley. She's 4 months old, so she's too young to take part. but I would have no problem sharing her photo for the good that this is going to do in our communities. And then you'll get a thank you, and you'll be able to share that link with other parents in your school. We'll be one photo closer to training the age estimation technology, and 20 Rand will be credited to your school because of that link that they are tracking on. And it's as simple as that. Riaan said that it took him about 2 minutes to do. The schools register, we send them a unique link, you share that link with your parents, and we will send you email templates, we will send you social media posts, we'll send you WhatsApp posts with your link in them. So we try to make this as easy as possible. Parents will use that unique link to submit their photos, and then they raise the 20 Rand for your school per photo that is submitted. So if you register within 24 hours, you'll get a registration email to say thank you. We're also going to email you this slide deck with some more frequently asked questions so that you know exactly what's going on. I'm available to have a conversation at any point, and I'll put my chat. I'll put my phone number into the chat right now, so that you can. There's my phone number. I would love to talk to you about why this is so important. Martinet Oosthuizen, it is in line with Poppy because the parents are giving consent. It's not on the school that is collecting that consent. It is still on them. Kate, can children be identified or tracked? Absolutely not. Children cannot be identified or tracked. The only thing that is associated to that child's photo is, as I said, that unique reference number, which the parents can at any point ask that their child's photo be deleted if they change their mind at any point. Okay, so once you've registered, we will make sure that your URL is set up, and then we will send that to you. We'll also be in touch with all of your communication materials to activate your parent body, and then we'll be in touch with you to verify your bank details to make sure that when the campaign closes at the end of July, we can make sure that the money is going into the right account to reward your school for what has been done. So we hope that you will join us in keeping children safe online. I want to reiterate what Joe was saying yesterday. It's about our hearts, and it's about protecting children. This is just one way in which we can do it, and it is a very real and practical way in which we can do it. So if you want to join us, please email share2protect@yoti.com with your school name and contact details, and we will take it forward from there. I don't want to get lost in too much detail. I want to answer some questions. So Riaan, if you could join me, and let's have a back and forth about your experience and see if there's any other questions that have been asked in the chat or via the Q&A.
Yeah, Josh, thank you so much. Yeah, there were a few questions. I'm going to ask Jaco to also open his camera and just participate in the discussion here. And I think it's critical. From my side, yeah, the question that I have is the risk and the fear. What happens with the picture or the scan, and why do they need it? I understand that. But what happens with it? Does it get stored somewhere? Yes, it possibly does, because we're training the AI, or you guys, Yoti is training the AI, but it's not a permanent store. It's not a mail of a picture. It's an online scan. But what happens with the pictures, Josh?
Okay, so as the photos are submitted, they enter the servers. Well, I mean, actually, they'll be stored on servers at Yoti. These are tier 3 security servers, so they're as secure a server as you can get. So the chances of them being hacked are very, very low. And the fact that Yoti is in online identity management, that's, you know, this age estimation technology, they're not making a lot of money of this age gating solution. They make their money in corporate identity management and a bunch of other things that is part of their portfolio. But because they are in identity management, their data protection is of the highest quality. It's important to note, yeah, sorry.
The pictures are being used, but not for pictures for albums. It's not
No,
attracted to a location, to a name, to specific
no.
details. It is like an ID picture that falls out of someone's car. You don't know where it comes from, who it is. And that's what I want to try and just debunk, is a picture of someone. When I was young, 1980, I played rugby for the second team, and our team made the local record or the Times. And it was my biggest joy to be in the newspaper with my name, and that we celebrated. I know the world is different now, but a picture by itself is very non-usable information if not attracted to any other data. Do I have it right?
Absolutely. There's no value outside of the pixels, and it's not even, you know, we can't even think of your child's photo being stored with Yoti in their training process as a photo. It's basically numbers, because as that photo comes in, it's reduced into numbers. So each pixel on the screen that you're looking at right now has a red, green, and blue value. And mathematically, you can say, okay, well, this pixel is 10 blue, 10 green, and 3 red. So that number for that pixel will be 10103. And if you take all of the pixels, you end up with a heck of a number. And now what they do in the algorithm is that say, well, this big number of the pixel numbers of this equals, and then they go what year and what month was submitted for that. So it says these numbers equals that age. And then when other photos are submitted, it compares them to these numbers, because we've got 50,000 variations of all of these numbers. So it's just comparing the pixel data with the age that's given. So it's important that, you know, the technology itself doesn't even know that it's looking at children. So you couldn't go in, you know, like you do on Google and say, I want to see all of the children that are 6 years old, and it's going to sort them out. Or I want to see all of the children with short hair, and it's going to sort them out. It can't do anything like that. It is simply a pure mathematical number crunching exercise, if that helps.
Brilliant. Thank you. I see Yaku's hand is up. I wanted to ask him his comments from 2 points of view, but maybe he's got a question as well. Yaku, as a parent, and also from a school governing body perspective where you served many years, yeah, your comments, your thoughts on this, and then from a FEDSAS point of view, our thoughts on this, and maybe leading into your question. Yaku, I cannot hear you. Still no. Ouch. Let's see if he comes back. Josh, yeah, I really wanted to get Yaku's comments on that. I see some questions in the Q&A box. Someone asking, can it only work for schools, or can other groupings also participate? Scout groups, churches?
Yeah, we are most definitely open to that. I think just register with us and let's speak to you. Let's find out how we can help you. It is an opportunity that we are looking at, and we're not against it for sure. We started with schools. That's where the journey began with FEDSAS, because they are our preferred partner when it comes to talking to schools. But most definitely we are open to scouts groups, to churches, anyone that wants to support us in getting this done. We will work with you. And I hope that you will take my openness to put my phone number in the chat box as a really big open door. I've spoken to a lot of different administrators and teachers and parents in the last few weeks as we've been onboarding a couple of other schools. So let's have a conversation. You know, your questions are valid, your concern is valid, but I believe we've got all the questions answered by now.
Yaku, can we check if you're available and audible? Still no audio. Ouch. Don't know what happened there. You're muted now. If you unmute, it's still not audible. I want to quote Yaku. I don't know if he can go out and back in and see if that works. But a few weeks ago, he spoke about the solution for schools being an opportunity to raise funds. I want to piggyback on something that I've used in church sometimes during the offering, where they say, but why does the church ask for money? Because the living water is free. And we say, yeah, the living water is free, but the pipeline costs money. So I want to say that this is a project that I would have thought about because I like technology. I want to manage the risks of technology. I like it because there's AI involved, which is part of the new world that we're working towards, and to better understand and get grips on that. So that's the second reason why I like it. But the third reason why I like it is it's an opportunity for schools. Jaco, just see if you're there.
Riaan, I hope I'm here now.
Yeah, you're here. You're here. So yeah, so there's an opportunity for schools.
Wasn't a tech issue, it was a person's issue. I had just a little button. So sorry for that. Riaan, no, if I can come in, I'm glad that we get a Poppy questions. It means that a Poppy message is out. Poppy is applicable when we deal with the information of somebody else. So as a school, we're not going to provide that information to anybody else. As a school, we're going to take part in this project, but a parent will give the consent. So it's on that level. So in that sense, the Poppy Act won't hamper the process, at least from the school side, or then in the governance part of it. But I think I would like to add on to what Josh has said. Within the next few months or weeks, it will be difficult to host the traditional kind of fundraising activities. So this is actually a very easy way to raise funds in your school, number one. Or actually number two. Number one is to create awareness, what we're doing now. When we work during Child Protection Week, to say, how can we contribute? I'm a parent. I've got two teenagers and one tween. So they're online. That's their lived reality. So as a parent, obviously there's great software out there, but there's always a way to jeopardize the system, like Josh pointed out, just to confirm that I'm 18. So it's so nice to click somewhere to say I'm 18, but I'm no longer 18. But the bottom line is, as parents, we can do something positive now. We can contribute towards the solution. And I think that's our position, and that's why FEDSAS is involved, because we can see the value in being part of the answer. And that's why we motivate the schools, not only financially. Obviously, that's nice to get some benefit, but you can actively participate to make the internet safer, not only for your children, your school. We're going to change it worldwide. So to have a company coming to South Africa to say, you have a very nice and diverse school community, we would like to use you to improve safety worldwide. And I think we should use that opportunity. So as a parent, I'll definitely upload those pictures. Remember, if you're really so concerned about your children's pictures on the internet, then you should start to close down your own Facebook. Take off all the pictures of your children, because you expose them more through those kind of pictures than what you're going to have. I mean, that's the part that the system will have. Whilst your pictures will have their swimming clothes and maybe identify the place where you live or where you holiday. And that's not the risk here. So I'm comfortable to encourage schools to say, yes, goodness, let's be part of the solution. Now we have this opportunity. So I'm all in. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Jaco, that's the irony of this whole conversation. As I was jumping onto this call, I got a WhatsApp from a friend, and his profile picture is his little boy, 12-year-old. And I just thought, well, there's one photo. Could I use that photo? But I can't. And it's important because Yoti could have done that. You know, they could have trawled around the internet and found publicly available. They could have gone and found Riaan's photo of him when he was a rugby star, and 20 kids right there. Okay, well, they all must be in about grade 8. Let's grab their faces. But no, they're not doing that. They want it to be consented, because it's not only about the end, it's about the means. It's about how we get there. So let's get there together. Let's get there in a good way where we can educate parents about it. And if they say, well, this is crazy that you're doing it, say, well, let's engage. Let's talk about it. Call Josh. Here's his phone number. It's publicly available. He wants to talk to you and help you understand why your child's data is so important. Why it's so important that we're willing to reimburse your school X amount of money to take part. Why it's so important that we're not just going and grabbing free photos that are available. We want parents to give consent for their child's photos so that we can have something in place to protect all children. So we really hope that you are neither lukewarm, that you're neither hot nor cold. If you lukewarm, ask us about it. Reach out to me. Let's help you get across the fence. Help you understand what the resistance is. So please, if you're not sure, email us, call me, Let's talk about it. Let's bring the awareness. And like Joe said yesterday, we just have to connect with our hearts around this, that we're really there to protect children, and we can do this together. And like Yaku said, it will have global impact, and it'll always be South Africa were the ones that jumped on board. South African parents were the ones that jumped on board to protect children. And there was a grooming incident in Taiwan that was stopped. Why? Because the Community Watch in South Africa, the corner of the world, they decided that they were going to do something about it. So please join us and let's do something about it.
Well said, Josh. Thank you, Yaku. I don't see many other questions in the chat box that's necessarily worthwhile. Well, all questions are good questions, but they've been dealt with on an individual basis. But if a parent wants to get involved, if you're a parent watching and your school is not involved, contact the school and ask them, can we get involved in this? If you're a school official, a teacher, IT person, a learner, just convey this message and get the discussion going at your school. And if you're in school management or an SGB member, where we believe that that's our mandate and our audience to talk to, we want to really implore you. Contact Josh, contact myself. My nommer was ook vroeg in die webinar op die skerm. Contact ons, email, telephone. Let's talk about this and see how we can facilitate this process. And yeah, thanks, Yaku, for sharing your thoughts as a parent and as a leader in the school community. And we really want to see us making a difference in Child Protection Week and beyond. This project runs till the end of July, but we'll be talking about this for a long time. So yeah, I see Santi is putting up the provincial manager's contact details. So if you're from a school or a parent and you don't, anyone, just contact any of our provincial managers and they will pass you on to myself or to Josh, and let's keep the discussion alive. Santi, I'm going to hand over to you. I don't see many other questions that's not been dealt with in the Q&A box. I think what's really important is that we are aware of the poppy issue, but my little note on poppy is poppy is not something that comes from the side and suddenly something that we need to do to be compliant with. It's actually giving a lot of good words for feelings that we've had for a long time already. We would never share anyone's information without their consent. I would just never do that. Before Poppy was there, I wouldn't do that. But let's not think of Poppy as a stick, but think of it as an environment to deal responsibly with data. So well done for asking the question. But it's not such a big stick that we don't have people's information available and have them share it with their own consent. For the purpose that it's meant to be. So let's find the balance in that as well. Santi, closing words from you. I don't see you online. Did we miss Santi? Then I will close the session. I think she's got load shedding. There's a lot of load shedding around us, and we got water shedded the other day as well. So interesting times. But in that, most people keep their internet on while load shedding is on. UPSs and everything are mainly for us to keep working. So when the power is off, we keep the internet lights on because we are such a connected society, and households and learners are connected with us in that space. With that being said, Josh, a last word from you, then we're going to close the session. Thank you to everyone that's joined us. Contact us on this, on the contact details that were shared. I think it's a very, very important issue that we're talking about today, and that we need to think about this intentionally, possibly change our thinking about a few things, and take this journey together. Josh, final words from you, and then we say goodbye.
Let's train that. Let's take our weekend warrior neighborhood watch to the next level. Let's get fitted out with new kit, with scanning cameras to make sure that our kids aren't getting into any of the online shops that we don't want them to. Let's do it together. My number's there. Give me a shout anytime.
Great stuff. Thanks so much, everybody. Ilse, I think you're going to close the session technically for us, but we all say goodbye. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.